What's up, guys? A bit of a self-reflection, a bit of a documentation of my journey so far. Not really much of a good one. Hasn't been too positive lately. It's been a little bit of fluctuating. Um, but for a few weeks, I kind of went on a roll. I started posting consistently. I had my shortcomings with like my habits and stuff like that. But I got to a point where those small those small moments of me giving into comfort, it built up. It gave me like a debt, and those habits that was for my new self, and those old habits I put away of like procrastinating all those things, like living to a certain standard to where I'm living according to my conscience. I started reverting back to my old self, and it was like once I gave into one thing, it was so easy for me to just completely fall back into my old self. And like what I realized is that it's just like you got two versions of you. You got the version of you that you can be, your fullest potential that's out there, and like you now, that version of you dislike, right? But the whole idea is that it's an identity shift. You are trying to become a new person. And once you continue to indulge in the old habits of yourself, you quickly get drawn to that identity. And you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm made out for this. I don't know if I can do this because you're, what's the right word? Your purpose. It's earned, right? The version of you, maybe not right now, but just to think about the lowest version of you. Think about where you were when you were at the bottom, where you're just in the pits. He couldn't get to the dreams that you want to get to. He couldn't achieve what you want to achieve, what you maybe have achieved, because you have to earn it. You have to become the person who's able to achieve those things. So you have two different identities, and you have to create a new person in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And for me, I began to indulge in these old habits where I was like, oh, I'm not that person anymore. Like, what was I thinking doing all these things? Because it's like I had this vision of who I wanted to be. I had this vision of, the car I want to drive, how I want to talk. You know what I mean? And it felt more achievable. The more I put effort in, the more energy I put into it, the more attainable it felt. Like the more of my new identity that I put energy into, instead of going into the old habits, the more attainable it felt. It was like looking at the top of the mountain and you can see like your future self and all these things and you're walking towards it. But once you start to go back into your old self, that version of you that can't obtain these things, that vision gets blurry. And as I began to, go my old self, that's where I began to question myself. I was like, oh, can I really do this? What was I even thinking? All these things. Because it's that effort you put in that like destroys those limiting beliefs. And it's like the simplest things. It's like I thought I was like above all these things, like the small things, a little bit of hints of comfort, but it's slowly corroded. Because, I'm just kind of learning this now from my own experience, but discipline does compound. And the small things, it can crumble it so fast. You're not above those small things. You think you're going to be, even one day. Maybe in the future. I don't think I'll ever be above the small things. Yeah. I want this to be a completely authentic documentation. I think that a lot of people need to see this video one day. Like once I achieve everything I want to achieve. Because, you look online and you see people and their success is just a straight shot. They can become fully consistent because that's what they show you. But they don't show you the beginning of the journey where you're building yourself up, where you're still inconsistent, where you're still struggling with that old identity. And you feel lost. You feel hopeless because you're failing over and over again. Even though you know what to do, but you're not disciplined enough because you haven't gotten to the right wavelength yet. And all you see online is people winning, 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 winning because that's all they post. But I want people to look back and see me losing over and over and over again, not because I was at my situation, but because of myself. Because, like, people act like they don't fall. And, I'm not saying that it's an excuse to, but people need to see, they need to get hope. See that, like, this kid, me, I was messing up over and over again because of my own self. And they did too. So they can relate and so get that hope. This is not an excuse for you to slack. But I just want you to see this and be like, yeah, there is hope. He went through that wavelength too. Let me get out of it so I can start moving the way he was moving. You know, and now that I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things, back into my habits for my new self, all these things, my new identity. It's like I can see my future again. I like it's like I completely forgot about like how I would visualize my like future self. And now that I'm getting more into language, I'm like, yeah, that is more possible. It's like literally the more energy you put into your towards like your future, into your new self, your new habits, all these things, the more your purpose, the way you see your future self becomes visible. I mean, this is a short video, but I mean, I love all you guys. Very few people watch this, and I hope that at least one of you guys can take something away from this. Because I pledge this to be completely authentic. I hope the authenticity of seeing me with my ups and downs can really motivate you guys who may be in the same situation I was. As I move forward, I'm going to show you guys the exact things I did to break out of that. I'm not completely out of it, obviously, but once I do, I'll show you guys every single step of the way. So I'm trying to instill hope in every single one of you who are in the same situation. Just don't think you're above the small things. It's always the small things. You gotta think of it as like a Jenga tower, and yourself is built up off that. It's the smallest little bits can crumble it all down. The human mind is so complex, and it's also made of simple parts. And if you think you're above those simple parts just because of your ego, it's gonna crumble. Lower yourself enough to where you can do the small things to keep yourself afloat. I love all you guys. God loves you guys. I mean, I doubt there will be anybody, but everyone comments. Anyone reach out to me, I'll answer any questions. But that's it.